allows you to attack before the defense can load and get set. Great recognition there by the Nets.
And good response by the Nets after that haymaker they took on the 13-0 run. They respond accordingly. Siakam's going to be strong. As Jared Allen, I think he was on the bench for 30 seconds, wasn't he? Got a long break.
Well, he's young, he's enthusiastic, and I'm sure he's embracing the opportunity to be out there on the floor.
LeVert blowing by. Ibaka can't curl it home, but he got the foul. Ibaka already wants a challenge, doesn't he?
Yeah. Everybody, you only get one, big fella. I don't think they're going to waste it in the first quarter, but here just you can see poor communication, didn't really get back, and really that was led off of a quick shot offensively that didn't give him floor balance, and great recognition by the Nets to take advantage.
Those double figures, 2 consecutive games for the young man at the free throw line, averaging 24 over those 22, and he gets the first 2.
So he just consistently puts pressure on your defense. Just a great combination of size, skill, and IQ.
Averaging 19 a game coming in, and it's gotten better every year. It was a little less than 14 a game 2 years ago. It was, and now this is his 4th season. So a couple of years ago it was 12 a game. But adding to his game, and his handle's gotten much better.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, he has dealt with some significant injuries over the past couple seasons that very much could have, stunted his growth. But great attitude, a willingness and a professionalism about him, and it's allowed him to develop into a budding young star.
Good take. Not there. Rondell Jefferson has just checked into the game. He's a good athlete, and that's his area. He's the paint, mid-range, and paint game. On the switch, LeVert working against the longer one. And deflected, not over and back. 5 of the shot clock for Tyler Johnson. Got it off in time.
You see the difference with this group for Toronto. They can switch those pick and rolls, and they've got the size and the athleticism to be able to contain. And great job there with Powell on the finish.
Yeah, great catch from behind. Norman Powell, good hands, good athlete. It'll be the mid-range game of LeVert staying out for Ibaka's board. 6-point lead for Brookline. About 5 seconds. Separation, shot clock, and game clock. Brookline out shooting at 50%, 42%. What about
a great job by Van Vliet recognizing Siakam had that elbow. There was nobody on the strong side to help, and able to turn that corner and get that nice finish there for the Raptors.
Chiaz has come into the game, but it'll be LeVert for the final shot. Will they get it off in time? Yes. At the buzzer, and that'll do it. But a positive beginning when you consider the way it started in game 1 for Brookline.
Terrific start for the Nets to get back in this thing. But credit the Raptors, though. They woke up there and made it a game.
this is a moment. We got to keep pushing forward. We want change. We want justice.
Some of the injustices we've been seeing is not okay.
What do we want? What do we want?
Let us be perfectly clear.
Black Lives Matter.
Welcome back once again to Orlando. NBA playoffs on NBA TV, all presented by AT&T 5G. Joel Myers, Greg Anthony. We head downstairs to Stephanie Reddy, caught up with the head coach of the Nets, John Vaughn.
Coach, you were concerned about transition defense coming out of game one. You certainly did a great job in that first quarter. They went on a run, though. How do you assess your overall defense?
Yeah, overall, I think the biggest thing, we haven't fouled and put them on the free throw line. So transition defense, pretty good at it. We loaded to the basketball, gave them multiple bodies.
On the offensive end, you did a great job sharing the ball in game one, starting off the same way so far. 9 of your 11 field goals made were assisted. What do you want to continue to see there?
It's the ultimate compliment to get double teamed. So if they continue to do that, we'll continue to share the basketball and just hit the open person.
Thank you, Coach.
You got it.
There's a guy that likes to pull his way in. Thank you, Stephanie. Norman Powell, and that was his game coming into the NBA. He's definitely increased and added to that. Joe Harris going to the line to shoot two. And what John Vaughn brought up, they're not living at the line. In fact, his team's getting to the stripe because in the first game, Toronto was 32 of 33 at the free throw line.
And 50% from three. So they basically got it all. And how about giving it all? So they got fella on that one.
We remind you, Norman Powell is not that tall to begin with. They list him at 6'4", so what does that mean? 6'3"?
Yeah, he's probably around 6'3", but he plays big. He's got long arms, and obviously he's got some bunnies.
He's definitely got the hops. Joe Harris at the stripe in a 2-point lead for Brookline.
What else happened, Carter? That first quarter, you heard Jaquan talking. The first 7 minutes, their shot quality was terrific. They were getting rhythm, uncontested shots because they were living in the paint. And then when Nick Nurse went to the bench and brought in some more quickness and length, he was able to then switch those pick and rolls, and they're going to get a block there and a finish by Van Vliet. And now then they took away those driving lanes, and they were able to contest more shots, which allowed them to get into the game. Nets started off 8 of 10 in that first quarter. They finished 3 of 13. So doing a good job, the Raptors, disrupting their rhythm in the half court.
Yeah, the Nets ended up kind of in scramble mode in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the first quarter. Well, we saw Norman Powell just hammer it home. There's different ways to get the rim. Fred Van Vliet with the soft touch and the foul, making a 3-point play. It's even at 34. Joel Myers, Greg Anthony, Stephanie Reddy. After Brookline had a 14-point lead early. Joe Harris. That picked up by Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. So Siakam out there with Norman Powell. Hollis-Jefferson, Ibaka begging for it. He'll get it now. Will it stay? Joe Harris will take it away. So Chiosa in there, along with Kuz. Jared Allen's been out there for most of the game. Good drive and kick. Tyler Johnson, he got the triple.
Yeah, good job there. Chiosa just straight line driving it, forcing the help, and then delivering there for Johnson on that triple.
He finally got to Brookline, didn't he?
Yeah.
After the offer sheet that was matched by Miami. And then he was waived by Phoenix. Picked up, as you said, they needed warm bodies. Tyler Johnson on the run. And the former Fresno State Bulldog puts it in. Going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, but that's going to be key for Brookline, their ability to get out in transition and get those opportunities.
Easy offense. As opposed to the half-court sets that didn't look good in the last 5 minutes. Southpaw, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. It'll be Norman Powell on the wing. Kept a lot by Ibaka. Kept it away from Joe Harris for a second chance opportunity. Last touch by Brookline. 7 of the shot clock. So solid beginning for the Brookline Nets after they lost the opener 134 to 110. They shot well enough. They were even percentage-wise. The difference in that game, though, and Jock Vaughn brought up the free throws, but in that game, threes, 22 of 44 for the Raptors and 13 of 42. So they were outscored by 27 beyond the arc.
Well, listen, the team makes 22 threes on you. You're going to have a hard time. I don't care who you are. That's a lot. And then to shoot 50% on top of that from three. So.
Joseph, hounded by Lowry. The free ball by Johnson short. The loose ball foul on Jared Allen. That's one guy they cannot afford to lose to foul trouble.
They're going to need him. Going back to the game where you see here, look at what the Nets gave up. 134 points. 22 threes, 33 assists, and then we didn't throw on here that you mentioned this partner, 32 of 33 from the free throw line as well for the Raptors.
What's healthy, though, it'll be Kyle Lowry protecting and using his body perfectly on Joe Harris, but it's healthy when you've got that kind of ratio of 33 dimes on 43 makes. At least they're sharing it. It's not stopping. Now on the dribble handoff, Lowry after it. Harris beats him to the punch with his length. Chioza. And taken away by Rondae Hollis-Jefferson.
In fairness to the Nets, there's obviously a lot of missing bodies for them, but where it really starts to show up is when you start going to the bench, right? Because they're starting five, they can compete, they can create enough offense. This second unit, though, you're seeing struggling a little bit more to get a rhythm.
I like the timeout by Jock Vaughn. Let's see what they do in the half-court set when we come back.
We're back in the studio, and it's a whole new day.
I would not stop until I see real change.
Basketball is back, NBA style. It's a whole new game.
You cannot stop him. You can only hope to
Great, man, great. Great job of not fouling down there, right? Being vertical, not fouling, then off we go, okay? Good energy, good pace. Everybody come back to rebound.
Still getting really good shots, okay? But we don't want to bog down and play through the post, okay? We want to just keep attacking them. All right, here we go. Let's get a bucket right here.
Conversations while we were away, Greg.
Yeah, I thought Jock Vaughn hit it on the head. Going back to game one, they've only given up 6 free throw attempts thus far, and they've defended the 3 well, giving up 5 makes on 14 attempts, which is important. And Nick Nurse, you get a foul there on Kyle Lowry, talked about it. They want to attack the paint, not through the post, but through the penetration, which creates better angles for either finishes at the rim, especially when Allen's not out there, but also threes on the perimeter when the defense has got to sink and fill.
After the foul on Lowry, Jared Allen over Ibaka, but he won't.
And that's the area where he's not quite ready to be a quick decision maker in step closer to the rim where he could just catch and go or make a quick rotation pass. But that's all because of the defense not allowing him to get there.
Great interior passing, Kyle Lowry. But good rim protection at the same time by Jared Allen. Now deep into the shot clock, Van Fleet. He's got to go. Lowry knows it. Got it off in time. And Allen's got the board. They don't beat themselves, Toronto. You look at Van Fleet played 39 minutes, only 1 turnover. Lowry 34 minutes, no turnovers in the opening game. As it's taken away, Norman Powell on the run and with the left hand. So makes it a 1-point game.
That was an example of athleticism because he hung in the air forever to get to the left side and get that finish with the left hand.
He's a different player the last couple of years as opposed to his first 2 years. Mid-range game. And it pays off. Chiozo.
And they needed that basket there.
So Chris Chiozo out of Florida where he played 4 years of college ball. Now the mismatch. Norman Powell again all the way to the counter. Norman Powell.
And that's again it's because of the paint touches. And we talked about it. It really does set up your offense. 5 defenders typically to sink and fill, and then it creates those driving angles or 3-point opportunities on the kickout.
Norman Powell now 11 points off the bench. Great entry. Kurtz and Chioza with the no look. Nice bounce.
Yeah, great find there, and credit this Nets team. I tell you, they're feisty. You know, they're not going to out-talent you, but, boy, they're not going to be outworked by the opponent.
They're playing hard for Jacques Vaughn. We saw that in the 8-seeded games earlier. welcome you back once again to Orlando. The NBA playoffs on NBA TV, all brought to you by Ford, built Ford Brown, and by Kaiser Permanente. Opportunities, not setbacks. Now looking ahead, Greg, Stephanie Ready down to the sideline with us. The schedule in this series. Game 3 is going to be on NBA TV. That'll be 1:30 Eastern on NBA TV. Sunday, if needed, 6:30 on TNT for the defending champs. Defending champs, the Toronto Raptors, not led in this game. A far cry from the first one when they wired the Broklyn Nets. And it's thrown away.
And that's on Norman Powell there. He and Kyle Lowry trying to figure out who was supposed to be the baseline drift guy on that baseline drive for Fred VanVleet. And even though VanVleet will get credited with the turnover, it really was not his fault. It was just a breakdown on the offensive execution.
That's out of a timeout. Jared Allen, perfect entry. Karis LeVert back on the floor, and you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the difference is, even for Jared Allen, he cuts harder with LeVert on the floor because he's expecting to get that pass, and that's just an ability that LeVert has that really nobody else on this current roster possesses.
Fred coming off the 8 for 10 from beyond the arc in game 1. 30 points, 11 dimes, and as I mentioned, only one mistake, one turnover in 39 minutes. That's the epitome of clean basketball. You're on the floor that long. LeVert, they left him, and he can't get the best of him. As Norman Powell will get the loose stuff. He's got VanVleet if he wants it. Young man who played his high school basketball in Jefferson City, Missouri, the state capital. Norman Powell. Gasoli won it, and Mark turned away from it. And it's not close for Anunoby off the side of the window.
I don't think Anunoby wanted it, that's for sure. That was what we call a reluctant shooter on that possession.
Kyle Lowry on the chase. LeVert. And they're going to call the foul. Is it on Kyle from behind? Yes.
I'll tell you what, I didn't quite see that. I thought LeVert got in traffic and just kind of slid.
That's the third foul on Lowry, by the way. A little shove from behind.
No, I'm telling you, I don't know about that one. They're thinking of him challenging it. Is that his third foul?
Yes. Challenge coming. Kyle Lowry. Does it stand as foul number 3?
Toronto challenging, yes. It's not true. So you go. 1 second, please.
In a 2-point game, an early challenge by Nick Nurse and the Toronto Raptors, and it's because of their floor leader, Kyle Lowry. Does he get his third foul? Is it successful? Left hand on the hip.
The trip is on number 3, making it a successful challenge. The foul is not on Lowry, it's on Anunoby, right?
Yeah, and you saw Anunoby, and it was inadvertent. LeVert tripped over his foot, and that's what caused him the foul. That's even though there's still a foul, that's a big play because that would have been the third. Watch this foot right here come in. There, that's where the trip occurred, and that's where the foul will be given. So that's a good challenge for Toronto to keep Lowry from picking up that third, because then it's a question of whether or not you risk him being out there with 3 with over 5 minutes to go here in this second quarter.
So the Raptors, going into the postseason, the defending champs, believe it or not, they had lost their opening playoff game in 5 of the prior 6 years. We remember what happened last year in Toronto.
It turned out pretty well for them last year, though.
And each time, they were the higher-seeded team in each one of those matchups like we saw last year. It'll be Johnson as Tyler comes up short. Fred VanVleet, free agent at the end of the year with the left hand. He'll shoot 2, trying to tie things up. So they've never had the lead. It was a great start for the Broklyn Nets. They call the foul on Luau Cabarro. And how about Fred VanVleet, though? First career playoff double-double, as he's 11 for 15 from the field. And he's always been committed to the defensive end of the floor. In 4th in steals this year. Also 8th in minutes played. And they get great support, don't they? The Toronto Raptors. They'll experience Courtside reinvented with Michelob Ultra. Tweet #UltraCourtside with #sweepstakes for a chance to win tickets. So a couple of free throws, and we're all even at 45.
Yeah, but if you're the Nets, you still feel pretty good about where you are. You've done a much better job defensively than you did in game 1, and offensively, put yourself in a much better situation in terms of having a chance to win this game.
That's why they had 33 assists on 43 makes yesterday, moving the ball that quickly.
You know, some teams have great players that can create offense. Others really got to rely on their system to create offense, and that's what you see oftentimes with Siakam able to knock down. He makes it look so easy.
So he's back on the floor. He's got 16 on 9 shots, 6 of 9. 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, and make it 5 of 8 now for Siakam. Segundo, 16 points. It's coming up short. And an opportunity for their first lead of the game. Gasol. It'll be off Tyler Johnson. No, they say Gasol. So frustration for Mark to start this game. He didn't have a long run when he was on the floor to begin with.
No, a lot of times in the postseasons, it's about matchups, and this is a tough matchup for Mark Gasol because of the pace and the space with which the Nets play, and they're going to put him in a lot of those matchups with LeVert. He does, at this stage, struggle a little bit in that pick.
It'll be LeVert. Good take. Couldn't get the finish. Anunoby clears it away. VanVleet without numbers. Going for it. And now Joe Harris with the floor spaced. On the trail. Taken away. And that's what Brookline can't afford to do is turn the ball over. Anunoby lost it. Kurucs.
I tell you what, this is about as ugly a stretch of basketball as you're going to see.
Very ragged. And now, once again, Toronto looking for their first lead of the game with 3+ to play. Almost taken away by Gary Temple. So Siakam, plenty of time. Man, it's going to be a defensive 3. You know, we were discussing Marc Gasol. Mark has missed a number of games this year, 2 separate instances with hamstring injuries. Yeah. So there hasn't been a lot of rhythm, has there?
No, that does have an impact, and obviously he's a little longer in the tooth as well. But that's kind of the beauty of this team as well. That, you know, they don't. You take a guy who was a defensive player of the year, a multiple All-Star, was the best player on a playoff team, and now you just need him to be your 4th or 5th best player. You know, that's a luxury at this stage for Nick Nurse and the Raptors. And again, when you get in the postseason, it's about matchup. This series, he's probably not going to be utilized nearly as much. But when you get towards the second round, you know, you start thinking potentially conference final Milwaukee. That's where his value will become elevated.
Now in the inbound series, Norman Powell coming up short. Gasol in his 85th career playoff game. And Anunoby. They're not shooting the 3 like they did in the first game, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, all you can ask for as a coach, you want to make sure your shot quality is still pretty good, which for the most part it has been. So they're happy with that. But unfortunately not converting, which is a benefit for the Nets as they find themselves right here in the game here late in the second quarter.
They wanted to walk and they'll get it now. On Marc Gasol.
He wanted to foul. He said he traveled because he was pushed, and you can see there's some frustration as he just got teed up.
He thought he was shoved and bodied up.
I think he did get pushed, but the officials felt like the contact wasn't enough to force the travel.
So Toronto with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left in the first 24 minutes of play with their first lead of the game.
I thought that was a dance move right there. He was very animated. You don't normally see that much emotion from Marc Gasol. Partner, you got those moves?
Yeah, I'd be in traction if I did. Coming back into the game, Ibaka, as Marc Gasol is going to sit down. But that's the luxury. The experience, Ibaka, Gasol, and then the young core that's on the floor right now with Van Fleet, Powell, Anunoby, and Siakam.
Yeah, and we haven't seen the young player Boucher, who's also, been able to come in and give some quality minutes. So
it's not long enough.
It's pretty long, though.
Real long. And he can jump. 2.5 to play. Luwawu Cabarrot. It was falling early in that corner three.
Well, that shot was contested, though. The difference, Siakam able to contain the dribble drive of LeVert, and then a great read by Ibaka to understand that the player was contained, so I don't have to overhelp. I don't overcommit, and therefore I can then contest that three-point shot.
Foul is on Luwawu Cabarrot as Ibaka was ready to set up shop in the post. The Nets now out of foul. Still a foul to give for the Raptors with 2:20 to play in the opening now. Got Jared Allen out of position and couldn't convert it. Joe Harris helped out. Nobody stopped the basketball. LeVert is going to the free throw line. Frustration, isn't it?
Yeah, because he had a bunny there. He did such a great job of looking the defense off. He looked to his left, and you saw the shift, almost like a quarterback looks that defensive back off, and then he had a wide open lane, just did not finish it, even though there was a little contact.
So the floor leader, Karis LeVert, gets the first of two. Well, it's not too late to play NBA Pick'em Playoffs Bracket Challenge. Get your predictions in right now before brackets lock on Friday, and you could win $1 million for the perfect bracket. Play free at NBA.com/bracket. So 2-point lead for Broklyn. They've led most of the first half. And Toronto feels great because they're only shooting 40%, and they're only down 2. It's been kind of choppy. Now Siakam almost gave it away. Into the shot clock. Siakam denied. It's off Jared Allen, but good help defense protecting the rim.
Yeah, good help defense. And then I thought Garrett Temple did a good job of not giving up that straight line drive. He didn't give up the blow by here. And so when you don't get blown by, it gives the help defense a chance to come over. And Allen did a terrific job going vertical.
Norman Powell not close. Joe Harris clears it away. So let's see what it is over the last 90-plus seconds for Broklyn, because they played well in the first half. They're hanging in there. It'll be Karis LeVert. Just too strong. Quiet offensively for Toronto. Coming off a career game. 134, the most they've ever had in franchise history in the postseason. Most three-pointers, 22. And right now, from beyond the arc, they're 30%, 6 of 20.
Yeah, they struggled there, and Ibaka had an opportunity with a mismatch down low, frustrated that Siakam didn't get it to him. It looked like Siakam wanted to risk that post entry from about 28 feet away.
And as we heard during the timeout, Nick Nurse was saying, don't send it in.
They don't play direct post offense a lot, but when you get mismatches, you want to, if you get the opportunity, you want to dump it down. The difference, though, also is, you can be open, but if you don't have the angle to make the pass, it doesn't matter. And that's kind of what the issue was. That wasn't a good entry position from Siakam to get the ball to Ibaka. That's why you saw Ibaka went over to him and tapped him up, because he understood. Man, that's a difficult play for Siakam to make from that position on the floor.
So after going 32 and 33 at the free throw line, Toronto now 6 of 11 at the free throw line. Every day is a different day in the NBA.
And that's the thing about the postseason, right? It's a new story every night, a new chapter. One game, as poorly as the Nets played, or I should say as brilliantly as the Raptors played, let's give them the credit. You come back and you find a way to win this by 1, it's a 1-1 series. You're right back where you want to be. So you got to be able to learn from that first game if you're the Nets and improve. And that's exactly what they've done, right? Better job keep them off the free throw line.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Steam Room podcast. Real good with Ernie Johnson and Charles Barkley. It's all presented by Tractor Supply Company. And download new episodes every Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts. But Brooklyn would love it to be in this position, this situation, with 6 minutes left in the game. They're up by 3 right now. They just want to steal one.
Yeah.
It's a confidence builder that at the half they're going to be this close. It's off Allen coming up at the back of Ibaka. They won't call the foul. Let's just give it to Toronto. Minute 16 to play.
I mean, they're right where they have been really all season. This is how Brooklyn has gotten it done all year. You know, they've defended well enough. They're a high IQ group.
Van Fleet feeling pretty good after the first one. A struggle so far for Fred, though. He's now 2 for 8, 1 for 3 from beyond the arc. Kyle Lowry just 3 for 9, and he was super efficient in game 1. He was out of 10 on the shot clock. The step back. Jared Allen's there. And back at it. Blew the opportunity. They said it grazed the rim for a reset. It's Allen. And Ibaka. Back to his OKC days. Joe Harris can't finish.
Wow.
Well, the work rate was great for Brooklyn.
What a sequence, man. You got to feel for the Nets to work that hard, to get that many opportunities and not be rewarded. And then Kyle Lowry just shoots a little floater at the other end to cut it to 1.
Now they'll milk the clock. 3-second difference. Shot clock, game clock. As Karis LeVert will direct the offense, sending Temple over to the sideline.
I'll tell you what, they've made the adjustment having Raptors on LeVert. Only 3 of 13 in this game thus far, even though he's done a good job with his facilitator.
How about that? That curl by Luau Cabarro, perfect dart from LeVert at the buzzer. And that's the way it'll end for the Raptors. They struggled offensively in the first half. No question about that. So the Raptors, the best defensively, and that's why they're only down by 3 right now. Halftime, as we'll check in with the guys in the studio, it's 53-50 at the break. It's Brooklyn on top, and they have led just about every step of the way.